We also like to show kids, again, going back to this, what's coming next. So not just we're done with this, but also really tell them we're done with this and next comes bath time. Really letting them know where you're going next so that it doesn't feel so out of control and they're kind of clued into what's going to happen next.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Flaghouse Sensory Channel. I'm your host Chris and I'm here this week with Claire Heffron from the Inspired Treehouse. And this week we're looking at transition strategies. So tell me Claire, why do so many kids struggle with transitions?
Sure, so we see a lot of kids, whether it's in therapy or home or the classroom, really struggle with leaving a preferred activity to go to a less preferred activity. So it can look different in different settings, but a lot of times kids will see tantrums, will see more rigid behavior because it's unpredictable. So to them, it feels out of control, like they're not quite sure what's coming next. They're not sure what you're asking them to do. They don't know how much time there is until they have to make that change. And so it can feel kind of uncertain, and that's when we end up seeing those behaviors.
Okay. What are some of the best ways that you can support kids during that transition time?
Yeah, so the first tip that we always give is making sure kids know how much time is left until the transition is happening. So that can happen in a lot of different ways, whether you're just counting down. If you can say, okay, we're gonna count down from 10 and then we're gonna move to the next thing. If you're at the park, you can say 10 more pushes on the swing and then it's gonna be our time to go. And then we also really like to use visual cues for this. So a timer like this is perfect to show a countdown until it's time to move on to the next thing. I love this timer because it's so adaptable. You can write with your dry erase marker, kind of a list of things. You can change it every day. You can erase something off of it if your routine changes. And then also has the perk of that visual timer on there so that kids really see how much time is left. We also like to show kids, again, going back to this, what's coming next. So not just we're done with this, but also really tell them we're done with this and next comes bath time. Really letting them know where you're going next so that it doesn't feel so out of control and they're kind of clued into what's going to happen next. We also really like using fidget tools and transition objects. So one strategy is for the kids to, if they're leaving an activity that they really like, say it's Legos, maybe they can take one of the Legos with them to make that transition to the next activity. It's a little less jarring than having to put it all away, clean it up, and they have to really make that break with the toy that they love so much. So sometimes just taking one little piece of what they were doing along with them can really ease that transition time. And fidget tools are great for this too. So something like this where they can wear a glove that they can wear and fidget with is a great distraction tool, whether you're walking down the hallway or moving from one part of the building or house to another. It's a great idea to use those. And then the last thing would just be a lot of practice. So we use social stories with kids, really kind of reading to them what's gonna happen, how the transition's gonna go, even using photos so that they can practice that at home. As therapists, we'll send those things home so that kids know what's coming next. And then also just repeated trials. So as you're doing those transitions, using really heavy visual and verbal cues to prompt them through and then fading those cues as kids get a little bit more independent.
Excellent. Okay, so those are some great strategies that you've given us today to help with transition time. There is, of course, a full blog post on this, and you can check that out at the Inspired Treehouse blog. Claire, thanks again for these great ideas. And remember, if you like ideas, activities, and videos like this, please like and subscribe to the Flaghouse Sensory Channel. We always have brand new ideas from experts like Claire every single week. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.